Hey everyone, it's me, DB. Just reminding you, we have t-shirts in the shop. Just go to pgttcm.com. Check out all of our cool t-shirts and stickers. Heck, we even got some shelf curtains in there. Keep clean, look cool, have cool stickers to put on stuff. Join us on Patreon and get a free sticker. Or don't. It's up to you.
You're listening to KZOM, Oleander Public Radio.
Greetings, listeners. It is I, D.B. Spitzer and Farmer Dave, here once again to talk to you about the Cthulhu mythos, its books, its monsters, its unfortunate human casualties, its timeline in general, and even its tangential bits, like the dreamlands or things of a weird nature that are Lovecraftian leaning. Once more we head into those dark woods, further feeling those malevolent forces upon us. Once again we walk down the lightless stone staircase in the middle of nowhere.
You're listening to KZOM.
Yeah, no, in about an hour I gotta go feed some animals. So.
Sounds good. All right, let's do this to this. Take a drink of my drink. Hey everyone, it's me, DB Spitzer, and as always, to my virtual right, Dr. Farmer Dave. No, not Dr. Farmer Dave, just Farmer Dave. Farmer Dave, how the heck is it going?
I am virtually doing well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and just a heads up to everyone who is listening. We are currently not in Oleander. And there's this pleasant little place outside of Portland that Dave and the goats are at, and everyone's okay. It's this nice little pleasant place called Swan Island that Dave and the goats are at right now. I figure anyone outside of Portland doesn't know that Swan Island is Swan Island. It sounds lovely.
Yes, and it's not really an island.
Well, no one knows that, so hey,
It used to be.
No. According to federal authorities, Oleander can only dig up its substructure so many times in Old Town and have old fires and have a pneumatic tube system because of whatever was blocking cell phone signals, which strangely now isn't doing it anymore now that the old cemetery and Old Town and surrounding hill areas have collapsed in upon themselves. But yeah, no, that's how's everything out there? I mean, this happened
we are now out to by the mighty Willamette River.
Yeah. I mean, this happened
mighty.
like 2-3 weeks ago, but we had a bunch of stuff that you did pre-recorded for my mouth surgery, and yeah, no, this is the first time we get to talk about it.
I blame your dentist.
Yeah. But no. We're now back in, I don't know, the Portland metro area is the best way.
Greater Portland.
Greater Portland area. Yeah. So the goats have farmland to graze on. I'm back at my house. So status quo returned back to season whatever before Dave was on the show, so I'm back here. So we're gonna have more ability to be at local things now that there's not a pandemic and all that fun stuff's going on. So look for us at any upcoming local horror conventions. Speaking of horror,
or making sacrifices to the Portlandia statue.
Yeah.
You were discussing horror before I terribly interrupted you with my statue sacrificing.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of horror, today we are talking about the Skinless One and Small Crawler. both from RPGs from Chaosium. Anyway, and then we will be talking about something that may or may not be horrific, depending on how prepared you are, the inner planes. So, yeah. All right. So, Dave, we're talking about Nyarlathotep again.
Yes, we are.
What do you know about Small Crawler and Skinless One?
Well, so they come from two of the scenarios, and Skinless One, I believe, comes from the Horror on the Oriental Express,
Correct.
which is one that and Mask of Nyarlathotep, which is where Small Crawler comes from, are by far the two biggest physically in number of pages, but just probably the top selling, most influential of the two stories. And I'm not sure if Skinless One shows up. There's some stories. There's an anthology based on the Horror on the Oriental Express, and I'm not sure if it shows up on that one because I honestly I have to admit I haven't read that book.
And just a correction, that is Horror on the Orient Express.
Oh, did I say
Oriental Express? But yeah,
Orient Express. Excuse me.
Yeah. No. And I want to say that is the Skinless One like, okay, I can never remember. Here's the question I need to ask. And people at home, you can shout at your phone, or if you're playing it over your car radio, whatevs. Horror on the Orient Express or Masks of Nyarlathotep, which one has Jackson Elias?
That is the Mask.
Okay. Because I was thinking, aren't the Skinless ones and yeah, no, that's totally different. That's totally different. But yeah, okay, I confused the two. But yeah, no. The Skinless ones are a Middle Eastern cult from Turkey surrounding area that reveres Nyarlathotep in the guise of a flayed corpse. So that's pretty much what I have, thanks to Cthulhu Mythos Encyclopedia. And also, Dan Harms also writes, in India, the small crawler form consists of a dwarfed human figure with 4 arms and 3 tentacles as legs. It's mentioned in the Kahat Aquadajin and has a small following in India. And yeah, it's pretty much from Masks of Nyarlathotep, which I haven't played either in about a decade and a half, and I confused the two because they were both ran by the same DM. So,
and so the Skinless One was Jeff Gillian created it for.
Okay.
For the part, and he said that he actually based it on sort of a throwaway line in The Whisper of the Darkness. Where they're talking about Nyarlathotep, and that also, I mean, I don't think this was Lovecraft's intention, but, and again, spoilers, that they skin, the human, take his brain into space.
Sure.
So with that and like a throwaway line about Nyarlathotep, the mighty messenger, where he puts on the semblance of man. So it could be ... that the entity that is the disguised as the folklorist in Whispers in the Darkness is the Skinless One. But that's never revealed. That's later. That comes up later idea. That's not necessarily the way that Lovecraft was going with the story.
Definitely. definitely. Yeah, yeah. No, and what I have to say about small crawlers is I really kind of like this idea of a humanoid with 4 arms and 3 tentacles. Like that could be all kinds of like terrible things. Like you could have something like that anywhere that there's some kind of like mythology about smafolk or pixies or like you could throw stuff like that into your Dungeons and Dragons and think that you're dealing with fey folk when you're dealing with like aberrations that are like the petitioner creatures of the small crawler.
And that I think is definitely consistent with Lovecraft, and he may not have believed, but he definitely draws on witch cults of the of Western Europe, which is pretty much debunked now. I mean, I don't think any anthropologists follow it, but this concept that the Fey folk were a lost parallel human evolution. But instead of like the remnants of Neanderthals, they were like the remnants of, the star spawn.
Gotcha. Interesting stuff. Fun stuff. Cool stuff. But yeah. Yeah, no. And I can see how you can use these, like the Skinless one, in your D&D, in your Call of Cthulhu, of course. Even like bring a little bit, like, okay, the Skinless one I think is like an awesome aspect or avatar of Nyarlathotep to bring into like cyberpunk.
Definitely, when you figure that there's this bio sculpting that may not be skinless, but it looks skinless.
Yeah.
Or you can want to just do like a silly one. You could have like on the chicken farm, it could be the chicken.
Yeah. Because that's what we need is Nyarlathotep chicken farm scenarios, which now I'm thinking about it, we need a whole book of barnyard scenarios with Call of Cthulhu. I mean, that's where the true... Oh, wait a minute. It's called Tatters of the King. It's the part that takes place in Goatswood.
Okay.
I don't know if you've read that, but there's a lot of barnyard activity anytime you go to Goatswood.
I own it, but I don't remember reading that part.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, no. And as I said before, like small crawlers, there's all kinds of stuff you could do with some sort of like... I can't remember anything specifically about the Cathat Aqua de Jinn. Yeah, I can't remember how it's said. I don't remember anything about that book, who wrote it, if it's for like, I don't know, Chaosium materials originally.
So the Aqua Kachand, I think, or the Aqua, I think that's Campbell.
Okay.
It's where the part of the book's in Latin, part of the book's in German.
Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha. Okay, so we do have some real mythosy stuff. It's not just made from whole cloth. Like, I based this off of a Chaosium thing I read without actually having any sort of... Okay, cool. All right.
But it may not have been there. It may have been put in. So we're talking about the Chat Aquadian. Okay, yeah. So that is Lumley, not Campbell. Lumley.
Okay. All right.
But I think that maybe Chaosium just says it's in that book. and
Gotcha.
that it's not necessary. I don't think the Skinless one or the small crawler was a Lumley creation.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that was retconned after the fact to put it in that book.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That's okay. Cool. All right. Well, I mean, that's the skinless one and small crawlers, who they are, where they come from. Skinless one, how to use that cult. I mean, you don't have to make the cultists Turkish, but I don't know. You could have like warnings from like people in Turkey, like look out for this symbol, or like, someone from Turkey is like talking to the people in the party and they're like, oh man, that's awful. What's that doing there? I left my country because of that stuff. And small crawler, same thing. You start it as someone, people who run a pesticide business, and they're fumigating an Indian restaurant, and then you bring something that you find in the air duct, and the Indian people like freak out because it's a small crawler anyway.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
All right. Well, next week we'll be talking about some worms and Mexico with Nyarlathotep. And after that, we will be talking about the inner planes, the elemental planes, that stuff in Dungeons and Dragons. So we'll see you in a bit.
Welcome to Innsmouth, stranger.
Hi, I'm Rob Whiten from the Innsmouth Book Club. Join me and my fellow guide John Chadwick as we take you on a fortnightly tour of Innsmouth. We visit places such as the Picture House, the Library and Innsmouth Museum to discuss all aspects of weird fiction, whether it be book, film, music, TV or art. As well as that, we stop over at the Gilman House to have a chat with a resident guest. That includes authors, artists, musicians, in fact Lovecraftian creatives of all types. You can find our free shows on Patreon, and there you can also sign up as a patron, which brings you bonus content, plus a monthly PDF copy of Innsmouth News, which features articles, author spotlights, all the latest news and reviews, and more. You can find us at patreon.com/InnsmouthBC. We hope to see you soon, because remember, Innsmouth isn't just a place, it's a state of mind.
Thank you once again for listening to People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos. You can help show your support by going to the show notes and following any of the links that'll tell you how to support the show and how to support our guests. And thank you to all of our guests who you can find in the show notes. Rate, review, subscribe, and remember, patrons get priority access to asking us questions, suggesting topics, even, submitting stuff. Actually, you don't have to be a patron to submit anything. That's how Dave got on the show, and that's how you can get on the show too. It's the People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos. Rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends. Thank you for listening. Back to the show.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to the show and being a part of it. If you want to help the show continue to grow and be here and be part of everything, go to conventions and all that kind of fun stuff. Check us out at PGTTCM. Check out how to support us. Check out our links. Check out where to find us on social media. Just more or less check us out. All right. Hey, Dave.
Yes.
How is it going?
It's going good. I mean, the goats are getting used to having this huge giant river, and so I've replaced my oleander owls with Willamette osprey, but it's good. How about you?
Not too bad. I mean, I'm back in the old studio full of spooky masks and books, so that's pretty cool.
Was there more than you left?
No, there's more guitars than I remember, but I tend to buy guitars and forget about them. So.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, there's some spooky stuff. Anyway, things are good. I am excited that now that I'm back in Portland, I can play Dungeons and Dragons with people I know better than people from Oleander. So that's the nicest way I can put that. I don't have to play D&D with Minion anymore, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And yeah. But one thing that's really great about D&D is Dungeons and Dragons itself. You were telling me that there's something going on with D&D right now about like they have something going on with like their most current license or something.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I haven't been following it, but their threat. They basically, it sounds like, and don't take your news from us.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Take your news from us.
Sure.
Did you know that Kazakh and Tajikistan, I know I mispronounced it, were in a war? They were like crossing each other's borders.
Okay.
But no, there's all this stuff that the news doesn't talk about. But my understanding is that they're trying to clamp down on people like Matt Mercer, who's making money and they're not getting a cut.
Yeah, I understand if it's like a certain amount of money that you're making off of their license, they want a cut of it. And that really does kind of make sense. They have this huge there's like this network, not network, there's this base of stuff that they've kept and they've controlled, and one company's bought another company. So Hasbro, mega company Hasbro, I'm not saying I like this, but I'm saying like it makes sense that they would do this. That they would figure out a way to go, this open gaming license thing is awesome for creativity, but some people are making a lot of money off of our license.
Yeah.
Even though it's open gaming, let's figure out how we can like put a little bit of a clamp on that. I don't like that, but I understand that.
Yeah. Originally, they had this sort of this safety net. What they did was that you couldn't publish the experience charts.
Yeah.
You could publish everything but the experience charts. But I think people got around that because even before it was a thing, they were just doing, merit-based promotions.
Yeah.
Or events. And so the fact that they're not, that you have to buy their book to get the experience chart, just, it's not as an incentive as it used to be.
No. And something that I said to my gamers a long time ago when I just started using SRDs was experience is every 3 to 4 to 5 sessions you go up in level.
Yeah.
And if it's... What's that?
You know what I said to my gamers a long time ago?
What's that?
That's my bowl of M&Ms, not yours.
All right, enough about D&D and rights and licenses and whatnot. We are here to talk about the inner planes, contained environments that are pretty much some of the most hostile in the multiverse. And they're each infinite planes that all kind of bump up against each other in some sort of way. And the best way to describe it in a physical sense is if you have a globe that has like the pole is one pole's positive, one pole's negative, and like, oh man, it's hard to explain. Now that I'm like looking at a physical representation, and I'm like, yeah, it's like two wheels that are connected, and I'm like, yeah, they're connected by fire, water, air. There's on the negative side, there's ash, dust, salt, and vacuum. And on the positive side, there is steam, minerals, radiance, and lightning. And they all are not good places to go.
Yeah, so in my 4 decades of playing D&D, I don't think I've ever set an adventure in any of these. I've maybe
Really?
things where I've had things where things have escaped from it, like methods and other creatures. But I've never actually took my players there.
Well, that's pretty crazy because the elemental plane of air, there's only one way to go, and that's down, and you don't actually ever hit things, but you can encounter things, and you can find floating citadels and elemental creatures that never have to land. Jinn. Let me see if I can find a list. No. Oh yeah. Okay. So we have like Pegasus, divas, hippogriffs, sphinxes, sprites, methods.
Air
like
elementals.
Yeah, all kinds of cool, fun things like that. Things related to air, and that's kind of what you find at every kind of elemental plane. Elemental plane of Earth is a little bit different. It's solid with pockets of air is the best way I can describe it, or it's tunnels and solid bits. But the only things that have to worry about the solid bits are things that aren't able to move through solid stuff easily.
Yeah.
Either through phase shifting of some sort or digging. It's connected to ooze, magma, minerals, and dust. So those kinds of places can be found throughout the elemental plane of Earth, and you can bump into that stuff. Oh goodness. Fire. Yeah.
Fire, water, and in my games, this is where if you destroy the elemental, that the evil wizard sent after you, you never really kill it. You just send it back to
the elemental plane. Yeah.
It gets absorbed by its universe.
Yeah, and then we have the energy planes, like the positive energy plane, which is a continuous explosion of energy not meant for mortals. If you go there and you're protected well enough, what will happen is you'll just start gaining too many experience points, and you could blow up. I mean, that's something I remember from like a second edition book, but I could be wrong. Then you have the negative energy plane, which is nothing. It's full of undead. It's oh goodness. Just going there sucks out your hit points. It's a place of outsiders. It's a place of undead, powerful liches, wraiths, specters, necromancers, people who don't want to be bothered by the living. It's if you get to the negative energy plane, you're there for a reason. If you can set up stuff in the negative energy plane, then you are pretty awesome.
And I wouldn't say that I don't know if it's designed this way, but to me, that's sort of where the healing or the harm energy comes from.
Oh, definitely. That's
what the clerics and the anti-clerics.
Yeah, that's where they draw their energy from for
exactly.
such things. Yeah. Then there's 12 minor inner planes. There's the para-elemental planes, and the positive quasi-elemental planes, and negative quasi-elemental planes, which are very much like the elemental planes, except for instead of like an air mythic or an air elemental or an air, not an air golem, a fire golem or a fire elemental or a salamander, the fiery ones with spears or tridents. It's all magma themed or ooze themed, which is just mud because it's between water and earth. So yeah, mud. Or an ice memphit or a smoke memphit in the area between air and fire, or ice between water and air. And then we have the positive quasi-elemental planes, which you're going to find like a steam memphit, or a lightning memphit, or a mineral memphit, or a radiance memphit. Those are the 4 positive elemental planes, quasi-elemental planes. We have
because steam is so positive.
Oh yeah, of course. That's water and positive energy, and lightning is air and positive energy, and earth is minerals is earth and positive energy, and radiance is fire and positive energy. And then we have
and boredom and negative energy is my dating life.
Well, that's salt, dust, ash, and vacuum there, Dave.
Yeah.
That's the 4 negative quasi-elemental planes. So, like, if you're going to find a salt elemental, it's going to be in the water negative energy plane, the plane of salt. Dust memphit, you're going to find that in the space between earth and negative energy. There's the plane of ash between fire and negative energy, and then vacuum between air and negative energy. I think those are mostly it, but like these places, like they don't necessarily have oxygen. They don't necessarily have what we would consider food, and they're not necessarily places where we could move around easily, like without like a proper ion stones or rings of protection or something like that. Your wizard's going to be a steamed wiener in the plane of steam, or lightning isn't a good place for your paladin to go running around. And you're just going to lose track of your rogue in the plane of minerals. They're just going to steal the sky. So
yeah, and I could see doing like a heist game where you're going into the the plane of minerals.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of these, they're at the most sort of designed for one-shotting.
Yeah.
I suppose you could make a campaign based on one of these, but it's pretty unlikely.
I think you could do kind of like the Great Wheel almost with this, where you have to like, for some reason, to break some sort of curse in your town. This, one-shot campaign. Break some sort of curse in your kingdom, your city, your family, your beloved, whatever. You have to collect something from each of these planes, and along the basic way of air, earth, fire, and water, you make friends that make it so that you can go to the fountain of creation, or the plane of magma, swamp of oblivion, the plane of ooze, Frostfell, plane of ice. You can go to those places and, collect stuff from all the various places, or find places where you can, just like straight up be like, we're not going to the plane of vacuum. We can buy that. But no, I could see that. Or I could see like a campaign set in the elemental plane of earth, or mineral, or something like that.
You could even make like a magical submarine and go to the plane of water.
Oh, definitely. And I had like a cool idea, like you said, a heist, and I'm like, yeah, you have to go to the plane of salt and steal like a key to get to the plane of minerals from a salt dragon, and then you got to go to the plane of ash and dust, and I don't know. But yeah, no, you
yeah,
could
you
do
could do a treasure hunt.
definitely. No, just like once your characters are bored of the Outer Planes, or before they get, I don't know, again, just like the Outer Planes, it's like you can slowly edge your characters into the inner planes by like being like, wait a minute, there's extra water in this water. This water's deeper than that water, or this water's, or being like, you have something bad come out of water, air, fire, whatever, earth, and then you have your PCs and NPCs of favor go into the other place and go, oh, this isn't too bad. We can get rich here, or we can solve a problem with whatever we can do here, and then we can come out. And that solves that problem. But then you can have that problem happen again later, and people are like, oh, you remember those pig farmers over in that one place that solved it last time? Let's take them over to the capital city and solve it for the king or the duke, whomever, and just kind of like have it be kind of like something like, oh, these people are really good at solving this. And then you have like, wait a minute, why is this happening? Why is there an elemental plane of fire stuff opening all across the countryside? People start worrying about maybe it's to the 9 hells, maybe it's to this, maybe it's to that. And it just happens to be that it's some sort of artifact or magic user or something that keeps creating a weak link to the elemental plane of fire. It's up to your crew to stop it before it gets too bad.
Yeah, and it could be like a 4 gates, one to fire, one to water, earth could be like a mud landslide, and you gotta find all 4.
Definitely. Make some kind of mix between Stand By Me and the 5th element. And guess what? The 5th element is love. Or the positive energy plane, and you don't want anything to do with the negative energy plane. But a mix between the 5th element and Stand By Me. So you have like an adventure of walking around, but you also have like good people and bad people with guns. 2 groups trying to get together to smash something, and you and your crew are just trying to get from here to there to collect elemental stuff. I don't know. That's all I got, Dave.
I think that we're basically, in the words of Sherlock Holmes to Dr. Watson, it's elementary. It sounded better in my head.
No problem. I'm a positive energy plane. That joke was better in your head than yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Next week we'll be talking about some other plane of existence in Dungeons and Dragons. Join us next week. So, hey, it's good to be back. It's good to be talking about D&D and Call of Cthulhu, and glad to know that my oral surgery didn't mess up my voice too badly. And so we'll talk to you next week. And if you are outside of Oleander and you're like, hey, how come I can only find the podcast? The radio tower is in a sinkhole. So, it's just podcast right now. If you want to help support the radio station, go to pgttcm.com, buy a radio station t-shirt. If you want to help Dave, buy a Dave's Farm t-shirt. We've got some of those still. And if you want to help the show. And thank you again so much. Written and edited by DB Spitzer, David Heath. Music is always by DB Spitzer. And again, rate, review, subscribe, tell your ma, tell your pa, ship you down to Sithagwa. Stay squiggly and keep it weird. Dave, anything you have to say before we go?
Nope. We'll see you next week.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
You're listening to KZOM, Oleander Public Radio.